When you've got questions, he always has an answer. It's Sean Hannity, this afternoon at 2, right before Joe Walsh at 5 on AM 560. The Answer.
Good morning, Dan and Amy. The Clinton play starring John Lithgow and Laurie Metcalf. That's coming to a early end because of sluggish ticket sales. Nobody's interested in the Clintons anymore. That's a better America when nobody is. But this play that debuted last week, John Fund writes about National Review. This is something we should have done. We did the dramatic readings.
We did. I think I was Peter and you were Lisa.
Of course.
Because that's how we roll around here.
FBI Lovebirds Undercovers is the name of a play written by a conservative filmmaker. 4-person play that relies on transcripts of the secret text messages exchanged by the lovers, Strzok and Page, as well as their congressional testimony under oath. And
how their marriage is doing, huh? I wonder how that's going.
Good question. Don't know.
Let's see if Peter Strzok is still married.
But we do know that, per John Fund's piece, that it got a rousing reception on Thursday at the Ronald Reagan Center. For more on this, as well as maybe some discussion of the real FBI, we're pleased to be joined by John Fund, columnist for National Review. John, thanks for being with us.
Pleasure, thank you.
So were you in the audience?
I was front row center.
All right.
Oh,
so give us a little flavor. Do your best Gene Shalit for us.
Well, it's a funny way to educate people on, I think, an underappreciated part of this whole Russiagate scandal, which is how in the world did the Russiagate investigation start? You know, it's no coincidence, comrade, that Peter Strzok was the lead agent in investigating Hillary Clinton's email, and we all know how many problems there were with that and why she was strangely not charged with anything. Then, immediately after finishing that, he became the instigator of the Russiagate probe against Trump by the FBI, which, of course, relied on the Steele dossier, which was discredited and, of course, had been paid for by Hillary's campaign. So the emails between Lisa Page, his lover, who, by the way, was the leading attorney for Andrew McCabe, the disgraced FBI official who had to resign or was fired because of improper behavior. The emails between Lisa Page and Peter Strzok are fascinating because they give you some clues as to what the world was really going on at the FBI and the Justice Department under Obama. For example, September 2nd, 2016, Lisa Page to Peter Strzok. President of the United States wants to know everything we are doing. Now, what does that mean? They said, we didn't mean anything by that. Then there's, of course, Peter Strzok saying we have an insurance policy against Trump being elected, which is the Russiagate probe. What did he mean by that? Well, he said it didn't mean anything. Then you have Lisa Page asking Peter Strzok, Trump can't possibly get elected. He's an idiot. He's awful. And Strzok saying, no, he won't get elected. We'll stop him. And Strzok tells congressional investigators later, well, the we was the American people. It wasn't anything regarding, me or Lisa or anyone else.
He always speaks for the American people, right?
Yes. I mean, I do it all the time. I say, we believe this. I say that all the time.
Right. I'm speaking on behalf of America. Right. Of course. Right.
And their delivery Dean Cain and what is her name? Who played the female? Christy Swanson.
Yeah, Buffy the Vampire.
Buffy the Vampire.
Yeah.
I mean, did they do a good job reading these lines to really sell it?
I mean, they played them like two adult, immature teenagers who were full of themselves.
Perfect.
And they, which is what they were.
Yeah.
And then, of course, all of the unusual punctuation was included. For example, in their little sly references to their affair, they would say, winky face, or 5 exclamation points, 5 exclamation points. It was quite well done.
Oh, you could just eat them up.
It was a performance. It was not a reading.
Okay. Getting to some of the real issues in this topic area, what did you think of President Trump's interview with George Stephanopoulos, where he, opened the door to the witch hunt being something that, if not orchestrated by, certainly there was knowledge of with respect to President Obama, even if that's plausible. Is that something that's helpful for him to intimate?
Well, first of all, on FBI Lovebirds, the makers of the play are happy to take it on the road, even to Chicago.
Oh, good.
To get local support. So if if anybody wants to have the play put on in Chicago, they just contact the play organizers. As for Stephanopoulos' interview, it bombed in the ratings.
Right.
I just have to ask, everyone, what is the president thinking by giving 30 hours of access to George Stephanopoulos to ask any question he wants? Does he think this is going to be helpful? I mean, hello?
Right.
Well, then he even tweeted, too. I mean, he promoted, that it was going to be on, I think it was Sunday night. He promoted it. Trump did.
Let me say this again. Donald Trump is the only person who can defeat Donald Trump for re-election. And he is sometimes doing a very good job of that.
And you think the Stephanopoulos choice was an instance of that?
Excuse me. George Stephanopoulos used to work for Bill Clinton and Hillary Clinton.
Yeah.
And then, of course, he became a, quote, journalist, unquote, and, of course, has never had any political views since then and has never shown any bias. Yeah. So you ask yourselves, of all of the journalists in the world that you would give 30 hours of access to and let them ride on Air Force One and ask you anything, who would you pick?
Not him, but he even said that he's open to doing other, sit-downs like that or, 20.
As I said, the only person who can defeat Donald Trump for president is Donald Trump.
Yeah, I mean, you're right. There's this. I think there's a little bit of braggadocio here, maybe more than a little bit, right? The idea that, look, I'll talk to anybody because I can stand and deliver with George or with anybody else, with Chuck Todd, with anybody else, and it doesn't matter. And it doesn't matter how unfairly they've treated me, how much they've misreported on the things I've done and not done. I can go toe to toe with anybody, and this is another way for me to get my message out.
And that's verges on megalomania.
Yeah. Well, okay. All right. Yeah. I mean,
but look, Donald Trump may well be accurate that there was a plot and a conspiracy to get him, but the time to talk about it is after you've assembled all the evidence, after you've gotten the intelligence agencies to cough up to the Justice Department's investigator exactly what happened. There's an old saying, don't step on your lines and don't advertise your product before it's available.
Well, right, and particularly with two important moments that seem to be relatively soon in the offing. One, the Inspector General's report, to your point about evidence, and two, the completion of the Barr Durham investigation.
Look, I think that this whole Russiagate thing has been an incredible distraction. Obviously, the Russians, tried to do something. We need to stop them. I'm glad the president has authorized us to put cyber bugs into their electrical system, so if they ever misbehave, we can teach them some very important infrastructure lessons. But this thing has been an incredible distraction from all sides because we have real issues, real concerns, and real foreign policy challenges. And I think it's just a shame that our entire cable news industry turned itself over to Russiagate and ignored all of these other issues, including things that are important. For example, what should the federal government's relationship to Chicago be before it goes bankrupt and sinks into Lake Michigan?
Yes, well, that's, yes. Probably, hey, you made your bed or your boat, so you're going to sink in it. At least we'll have a little bit of fun per this play, FBI Lovebirds Undercovers, which I'm glad you wrote about. He's John Fund, columnist for National Review, nationalreview.com. John, thanks for joining us. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Take care.
And he joined us on our turnkey.pro answer line.
There's only one radio show in Chicago talking about today's biggest stories and telling you what they really mean. That show is this one, Chicago's Morning Answer.